Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this webinar today. My name is James Chang, and I am Director of the Duck Career Network here at the University of Oregon Alumni Association. I'm currently speaking to you from the Ford Alumni Center on the Eugene, Oregon campus, and so thank you all so much for joining us. Based on registration, I know many of you are viewing this from the West Coast, but we also have representatives, we have alums who are East Coast, as well as far west as Hawaii. So thank you all so much for joining us. Today, the focus is on how to unlock the power of the University of Oregon Alumni Network using LinkedIn. Before I talk more about that workshop, let me introduce the Duck Career Network. The Duck Career Network is designed to crowdsource the career insight and experience among Duck alumni. So if you are career changing or looking to advance your career, hopefully you can gain from the insight and advice of Ducks who have walked the path before you. And for those that we try to highlight, you will see them featured in written career profiles, in self-authored blogs. We'll also try to feature them in virtual interviews or panels, as well as speakers panels held in various regions across the country and perhaps across the world one day. If you happen to be an alum who would love to share your career successes and your insights and experience, do let me know. I would definitely love to feature you in one of those forums. Today, the focus of the webinar is more instructional, and it's on a tool that many of us know, but may not necessarily be using to its full capacity. Currently, LinkedIn has over 300 million users. They are from 200 some countries, and what may surprise many of us is that about 2/3 of the users are outside of the U.S. So even though we think of LinkedIn as a U.S.-centric networking tool, it's obviously got great user appeal and access across the globe. The goal of today's program is to help you unlock the power of the UO Alumni Network, and I will try to do that in 4 parts. The first part will be focusing on how you can access data within LinkedIn to learn more about your alumni community. The second part will be to teach you how to engage the UO alumni community, primarily through our UO LinkedIn group. Third, I will try to teach you how to manage your image and brand, primarily through the use of your profile and your activity on LinkedIn. And lastly, I will try to give you some suggested calls to action to perform after the webinar is through. Before I start the instructional portion, I definitely want to take a moment to thank you for your membership in the UO Alumni Association. The reality is programs like this and many more would not be possible without your membership, so thank you so much. All of you should be aware that the goal of the UOAA is to help make the University of Oregon stronger by fostering lifelong relationships with Ducks and to help you become cheerleaders and champions, as well as ambassadors and advocates for the U of O. We're all in it together, and thank you for being part of our mission. The final comment I'd like to make is that with the proliferation of social media over the last several years, people seem to be confused with all the different platforms and the types of appropriate communication that should be displayed on each of those platforms. So I thought I would share something I learned from attending a social media workshop a few months ago. It's using the analogy that especially the 3 main social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, are analogous to different social settings. LinkedIn is a platform that you can think of as a business, a meeting at work, a meeting with colleagues, and the communications that would go along with that setting. Facebook is more analogous to a family picnic, a family social. So communications there are much more important. And for Twitter, it's analogous to discussions around the classic water cooler or the bench. or the coffee pot. So as you start thinking about what is appropriate for each of those settings, hopefully that gives you an idea. But today we're going to be focused on LinkedIn and communications that are much more appropriate within a professional business context. So now let's dive in. I'll take a few moments to share my screen so that you can start seeing how I am navigating the LinkedIn. So I am assuming that you have at least set up your account and that you can get to this part. But what you're seeing right now is, for me, when I log into LinkedIn, this is my starting page. And this is what LinkedIn refers to as I guess, for lack of a better word, a homepage. Here you can read recommended articles that LinkedIn may want to highlight with you. You can also see updates shared by your own network, things that they comment on, things that they like, things that they would like to share with their network on LinkedIn. So whenever you log into LinkedIn, this is the page that we'll start with. My approach today is going to be from a macro perspective to more of a micro perspective. So as I mentioned earlier, the first part is going to be about learning information about the University of Oregon website, University of Oregon network as a whole, and then we will move more towards your individual app. So to start the first part, which is to learn about all the data that is within the LinkedIn system, I'm going to guide you to the University of Oregon educational page. One way to access that is at the top LinkedIn menu. If you put your cursor over interest and select education, this will help filter the information that you share within the educational page. At this point, you can type in the name University of Oregon. For me, because I follow University of Oregon, it will show itself on the right, and I can simply click on the image or the name. And this is the single educational page for the University of Oregon, which can serve as a great home base for you. This is also where you can access a lot of very valuable information. Specifically, as I scroll down, you can see a lot of information that is provided, but within the main section of the page, you'll see its reference to exploring careers of 80,000 plus alumni. What this means is of our 180,000 University of Oregon alumni members, over 80,000 of the alums are actually on LinkedIn. So once you create your profile and put down University of Oregon as your educational institution, you will be adding to the summary. So this is also where you can learn a lot more about your alumni peers, where they are, what they're doing, and so that's the focus of my first part of this presentation. To access that, move your cursor over Exploring Careers, click on that, and that will provide you a greater screen to access this information. So of the 80,000 alums that are on LinkedIn, you can see that they have sorted our community within major categories of where we live, where we work, what we do. If you press the side arrow, you will also see summaries based on what our alums studied, what they're skilled at, and how you're connected to them. If you would like to see more of these lists, click the Show More. And this can be really helpful, as I mentioned, to learn more about the alums that are within LinkedIn profile. So I have prepared a few specific searches I would like to show you, and so let me walk you through them. For instance, if you are in the San Francisco Bay Area and you're wondering who are your alumni peers close by, at quick glance, you can see of the 80,000 some Oregon alumni, approximately 7,000 live in the San Francisco area. And when you click on the city San Francisco, this page automatically filters based on that criteria. What's interesting is if you take a look at the next column of where ducks work, I would say it's a very impressive list. A lot of the major San Francisco companies are represented here. And you can see that, for example, 38 ducks work at Google, 36 work at Cisco, we have 35 at Stanford, and so on. So this is a neat way to see where our duck community is working. At this point, you might be also curious who might be fellow alumni of a college or a program. And if you scroll to the next page, you'll see where they study. And let's say you are a graduate of the School of Communication and Journalism. You click here. This also tells you in advance that of the 6,900, approximately 800 or so are communication grads. And that filters what you see down to the 836. And for me, I can quickly see that of those 800 some alums, I'm personally connected to 10 of them. Over 400 are ones I'm not connected to, but people I know are connected to them. And as a quick reference, if I scroll down to the bottom of the page, I can also see the individual highlights of those ducks in the Bay Area. Let me mention some symbols down here. Beyond seeing someone's name, their title, their location, if you see this little O and a number, it shows how many other people you know are also connected to this individual. So there's 7 people I know who also are connected to Bill. Quick reference, I can see that he's a 2000 grad from Oregon, and because I am connected with him individually, I have a little envelope icon which allows me to send a message to him directly. If I scroll down the list a little bit further, you'll notice that I will eventually see some individuals where I don't have the envelope, but I have a plus and a silhouette. And what that indicates is that I'm not personally connected to them now, but I could click this as a request to be connected with them. But back to the main survey, this lets you know that you can search for your fellow alums in the regional area. Once you have finished that search, if you want to start another one, all you have to do is click the Clear All option. And I'd like to do a couple more for you. Going back to the main page, let's say you are one of our alums in Washington, D.C. of the 80-some thousand. You click on D.C. You can see where our D.C. ducks tend to work, from the State Department to universities to the World Bank. You scroll down a little bit further. I was very intrigued by seeing that there's, of the 1,100 ducks, there are 5 who work at the Smithsonian. And if I was curious to know what they studied, I can move to the next page, and I could see that they have studied history, natural resources, a number of those areas. And if I scroll down further, I can also see that these are those individuals. With Noel and with Matt, I don't know them personally because I can see I don't have the envelope, but I can see that with Noel, I know 2 people who know her, and with Matt, I see that there are 7 people who I know that know him. And so I can go to those contacts and ask to be referred directly to these individuals. So that's another search based on for contacts and work. Lastly, if you're curious where your fellow peers from your academic college or program is, let's clear all. Go back to 80,000 or so. Actually, we don't have to switch to the other page. We can stay here, and perhaps you were a sociology major. So of our 80,000 alums on LinkedIn, there are about 2,600 sociology majors within the system. You click on sociology, filters based on that. And then let's see where the sociology majors are working in large numbers. And you might be interested to know that 20 work at MIT, 12 work at OHSU, 10 at Nordstrom. But I was curious to see that there's 7 at Microsoft. So sociology majors working at Microsoft. If you click on Microsoft specifically, we will filter that down to the 7 sociology majors there. As you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll be able to see who those individuals are. For me, I'm not personally connected to any of them, but what I could do is, for example, with Stephen Clifford, who's a 2011 grad, I can click onto his summary, then view the entire profile, and then click Connect here, where I can send him a personal request. On this subject, whenever you click the Connect button, you tend to have a default message pop up. I highly, highly encourage you to delete that and write in something personal. It shows your interest, it shows your effort, and it definitely increases the likelihood that the person will accept your connection request. Otherwise, it really shows that you may not have been really that interested in making that connection with them. So for this one, I will just go back. Last but not least, one final search I wanted to share with you, going back to the University of Oregon page, clearing all the filters, is if you're someone who is looking to possibly change careers, it may be helpful to focus on what other alumni are doing. And so one search I wanted to share with you was to look under the skills section, and some of these are very general skills, but I wanted to focus on the 5,600 alums who indicate nonprofits as a skilled area, so I'm going to filter based on that. And let's say you live in the Metro Portland area, so the 5,600 involved in nonprofits, I will filter it down to the 1,600 in Portland, so that I can quickly see where these individuals work. Some government, some universities, definitely some nonprofits. And if I was interested in an organization like Mercy Corps, I can click on this and go from the 1,600 down to 10, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and then see the individual ducks who currently work within the Mercy Corps organization. And once again, for individuals that I know, I would have an envelope. At this point, I don't have any direct contact with them, but with Allison, I know that I could reach out to my contact boss, and ask them to introduce me to Allison. Or with Stephen, I can ask one of my 6 contacts to reach out to him. So as you can see, one of the key steps of accessing the power of the U Alumni Network is simply to find out where the alumni are. And hopefully you can see through my demonstration that there is a lot of information at your fingertips, and this is an exercise that I encourage you to try when you have the time. I'll also share with you the first time I saw this demonstration myself, I was so excited and impressed, but when I went onto my own computer, I was stumped and wondered where I had to go to find this resource. So don't forget, go under Interest, go under Education, and then type in University of Oregon. So that's the first part. For the second part of my program, I'd like to focus on how you may be able to engage that community within the LinkedIn space. So with that, I'm going to return to the University of Oregon education page where we started. And I would like to point your attention to about halfway down the page, you will see a featured group listed. And this group has over 17,000 members. There are many Oregon or University of Oregon groups. Some reference alumni, some reference other affiliations with Oregon. and they are oftentimes administered by alums or friends of the university who want to facilitate networking. As part of the University of Oregon Alumni Association, I would highly encourage you to specifically seek out this particular group, the University of Oregon LinkedIn group, and you can find it here easily. And when you click on University of Oregon, that will take you to that page. The other groups may have good activity going on, but the main differential is that with this group with approximately 70,000 members, it is administered by my colleagues and I in the UOAA. So we try to facilitate conversations. We try to drive more alumni traffic here. So regardless of all the other Oregon groups you might belong to, we highly encourage you to join this particular group. And when you request to join, we actually have a process on campus to verify your alumni status. And also, we do allow students, faculty, and staff into this group. So it is a very University of Oregon specific group. Now that we're here, let me introduce you to at least some of the features that you can use. To begin with, of course, at the very top are the standard LinkedIn menu items. But within this page, you'll see that there are specific menu items for our U of O LinkedIn group. The default view is the discussion page, where you can share news, you can recommend articles for the good of our community, you can ask questions, you can make announcements. So this is a place where, particularly if you would like to help the communication and the community building of our network, feel free to share some news. When you type in something in your field, you will have the choice of having your message posted under general discussions, which is where we are now, under the job section, or also under the promotion section. And let me mention those sections really quickly. If you are involved in a product or service that you would like to promote to other docs, if you enter a promotion and flag it as such, you will be listed under this page so that people can quickly know that you are here to promote your website, your business, or your service. And there's no limit, well, within reason, to your posting here. We try to mediate post from the same individual to no more than approximately one a week. So here's a section where if your goal is to sell or promote something, post it here, please. Under discussions, we don't want to clutter that with promotions of any sort. If you choose the Jobs tab within our University of Oregon group, you will see that we have filtered a number of jobs that we think might be of interest to our community. But in addition to that, if you look to the left, you'll see job discussion. This is a situation where if your organization has a position to fill, not only do you have the option of posting it within LinkedIn, which actually, by the way, does have a charge, you can refer it to our U of O LinkedIn group for free and also identify yourself as a contact. So this way you can not only promote the opportunity, but you can also put yourself in a position to be an advocate for other ducks. And other ducks who may simply even have a question versus applying online, this allows them to send you a message and ask for additional information. So this can really facilitate job promotions and job pursuers to check out your opportunity. So definitely look into this feature. Next, let me move on to members. And this is another way where you can identify members that you would like to reach out to. Let me make a suggestion and it was actually a question that was asked in the study. And the question was, how do I find other ducks who work in hedge funds? So within this member category, once again, you can see there's 70,000 members here. In quotes, you can type in hedge fund that will search for that specific phrase. And of the 17,000 members that we do the search, you can see that 33 of our group members who are ducks have the word hedge fund somewhere in their profile. In some cases, they're first contacts for me, so these are people I know directly and I'm directly connected to on LinkedIn. But as I scroll a little bit further down, you'll see that there are a number of people who are secondary connections, so people I do not know, but my contacts know them. And for those of you who have played around with LinkedIn, you'll know that you're able to send messages directly to only those people you have a connection to, but not those who you are not connected to. That's one of the main benefits of being part of a group, because within a group, and as you can see here, you have an option to send a message without having to be a first-degree connection with them. And here you can type in the subject matter, and you can type in a specific question. And within this question, you can also say, I would like to correspond with you using my Gmail address or using my work address. And this allows you to communicate outside of LinkedIn. Of course, you can reach out and make a request for a connection, but sometimes it may feel a little bit more natural to start the conversation, build a relationship with an individual before you request a connection. So that is a search based on alumni group members with hedge funds in their profile. I wanted to show you another example because there was a situation where someone was interested in landscape architecture. So I did a search in quotes. Here you don't have to clear your search or revert back to the original 17,000. You can if you choose, but you don't have to. But with landscape architecture, once I click search, you will see that there are 142 of our group members who have landscape architecture somewhere in their profile. And once again, you're able to look up their profile, and start filtering for where they may have applied their knowledge and skills in that particular area. So that concludes my second component of this workshop, which is to help you find a space where you're able to not only identify fellow ducks, but also have a way to communicate with them one-on-one or to communicate with them as a group. At this point, let me bring us back to our group page. Now, the third component of my presentation today is to give you some advice on managing your image and brand, particularly using the profile and activity section of LinkedIn. So let me start with my own profile as an example, and I can access that by using the LinkedIn main menu profile. So let me share some main tips here. The first tip is to encourage you to put up a professional headshot, and professional doesn't have to be professionally photographed, but a professional looking picture. Because when people look through profiles, the first image, the first impression they have oftentimes is of your picture. So please try to find a very simple headshot, and that will be sufficient. Some people have not added their profile yet, and I find that my reaction to those profiles or connection requests is that these people are not fully prepared. They're not ready to network. They're just not dressed to leave the house yet. So as quickly as possible, please do put up a picture because that's how people remember you guys. In addition to that, a tip for making yourself look more polished is that if you have not already given yourself a personalized LinkedIn address, you can do that by going under Edit Profile. Next to your LinkedIn address, you'll see the word Edit. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you will see that you can customize your public profile so that versus something that says linkedin.com/in/numbers and letters and just this, probably this, you can change it for something that's just simply your name. This makes it so much easier to put your LinkedIn profile address on an email auto signature or on your resume, wherever else you would like to put it. I won't spend too much time because this is something that you can review on your own, but as you are trying to develop your own LinkedIn profile, review other individuals to see what they have done. In most cases, that heading right under your name defaults to your current title, but you're able to change the heading to emphasize your skill set, or particularly if you're career changing, to focus on the area and the industry you want to pursue versus to be defined by your past job titles or your past. The summary section is for you to use to describe, once again, your direction and your focus. And then below that, you have the ability to identify and highlight the work that you have done over time. One thing you'll notice about my profile is that under my experience sections, I've chosen to use paragraph form versus bullets. And the reason I subscribe to this method is that for people who see my resume, they will have been able to see a quick snapshot of my skills, abilities, and accomplishments, but that does not provide very much context. My goal in providing a prose description of my experience is to be able to describe much more of the subtleties, the relationships, and the process that I was involved in to achieve those goals and accomplishments. So that is my strategy. But as you look at various individual profiles, you'll see that there's a variety of presentations. Choose what you feel best represents you. LinkedIn also, if we go back under Edit Profile, allows you to upload supplemental information to showcase your skills and abilities. For example, here I could upload a file, for example, a PowerPoint presentation or maybe a PDF. I could include a link, and for example, with my current position at the UO Alumni Association, I provided a link to the website that I created, and so it's a way for me to showcase some of my additional skills. At this point, I'd like to show you some other individual profiles. So for that, I will return to the U of O page. Once again, I can type in org in the field. You'll see many ways I can filter it, but I will choose U of O specifically. You will recognize this page once again once it's fully loaded. And so what I thought I would do is, through the Explore Career section, look for some individual. So I'm assuming that people within the creative field like architecture may use those add a link, add a file features more. So I will go under the what they study column and choose architecture. And in this case, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom to see individuals in this category. And luckily, I know a few of them, including Brian. And so if I click on his profile, and then view the entire profile. This way you can see that he has included some links, some websites, some examples of his work, and you'll also see that he has gotten some recommendations for work he has done. While we're on this page, let me also mention that beyond your experience, you're also able to include projects, and this can be very helpful for recent graduates or for those of you who have done projects with nonprofits in a volunteering capacity to really showcase your skills. You'll see education, of course. Skills and endorsements, these are the ones that others can advocate for you on. You can also identify ones that you would like to be recognized for. You can see some recommendations Brian has received already. So these are ones that you can provide other people and request as well. Connections that I share with Brian, and also groups that he's a member of and people that he follows. Particularly for those of you who might be thinking about a career change or a job change, you may want to look up a profile for someone who's already in that field or in that company and see what they follow and who they listen to, because you can start thinking like they do, which will make it easier to show that you belong with them. At this point, as I scroll to the top of Brian's profile, I'll mention some neat features for you to manage your information as well. You'll notice under his picture, you'll see a tab for relationships, and this is a fairly new feature that LinkedIn has created to help you track your relationship. You can identify how you met this individual. You can write notes that will only be viewable to you, not to him or anyone else. You can also set reminders so that in 1 month, in a week, you can send them an email. You can also tag them based on specific categories. So, for example, class or another ultimate frisbee fan, so that if you're interested in communicating and searching based on those categories, you can find people very quickly. But LinkedIn is helping to make our lives a little bit easier to track our contacts and keep in touch with them. Next to the relationship tab, we also have the contact information tab, which starts with the information that Brian has provided to be shared with other LinkedIn members. But at this point, you can also edit the contact information and provide additional information that you know outside of LinkedIn. His birthday, for example, his personal cell phone. This, once again, is viewable only by you, not by other people within LinkedIn. So this can become your personal CRM. So once again, you can see that this is very helpful. At this point, I'd also like to make a quick comment that I personally do not subscribe to the premium account for LinkedIn. So what I am able to do, and what I believe most of us are able to do, is achievable without that monthly LinkedIn premium subscription. Now, if you are going to be heavily using LinkedIn to identify contacts and your network is important to your business, it definitely will be an asset to have a premium account, but I surely don't think it's necessary. So just also to give you another example, within the architecture individuals, if I were to see someone like J.J. Smith, where I do have one contact in common, I can ask Shauna to introduce me to J.J. I could also just go directly to his profile, learn a little bit more about him. He's a fairly new LinkedIn user. Click connect, and once again, identify that either we've met, we're colleagues, we're classmates. Write that personal message, replace the template, and once again, that will increase the likelihood that someone will accept your invitation. So that is the third component of my presentation. What I'd like to do to wrap up the presentation is to move us to a call to action, because I know I have shared a lot of information with you today. I do want to reiterate that this presentation is being recorded, and when I send a post-event message that will include a survey to collect your feedback about not only the content of this presentation, but also web access, the format. My hope is in that email, if not the first one, perhaps the second one, to share with you a link where you can be able to access the recording of this video, so that if there's any piece that you would like to revisit, review, you can do that at your ease. But for now, my call to action is summarized in 3 different areas. The first is that I recognize that creating a strong LinkedIn profile takes time. So my advice here is, do not feel that you have to create the best possible LinkedIn profile in one setting. Instead, perhaps block out 30 minutes every other day where you can devote some time to your LinkedIn profile. You can also take it in incremental steps. The first time, as you're setting up your account, just make sure that all your titles and the dates of your past jobs of the last several years are entered, and that may be good for the first setting. The second time you visit it, it might be worthwhile to work on the details for 1 or 2 of the job or experience section, and that may be a great goal for a second course. So the whole idea is, do not overwhelm yourself. We are all very, very busy, and so LinkedIn can be very, very intimidating, but if you take it in small, manageable chunks, I think you will eventually get to a point where you're very confident and proud of your LinkedIn profile. Beyond taking care of your profile page, I also encourage you to start establishing your LinkedIn and also online presence. And you can do that in a couple of different ways. Back to this home screen on LinkedIn, you will see a number of articles that is recommended to you. You will see, once again, the comments and referrals by others and the individual. This is a place where you can start liking certain articles, or you can also share reactions to comments that your colleagues make. Little by little, people will start seeing your ability to be comfortable in the social media space. So no need to send broad reaching messages, but simply liking articles, liking comments, adding to comments of others can help you build your online presence. At this point, I would then reiterate the importance of getting more involved in the University of Oregon LinkedIn group. And once again, under groups, once you have identified the group that you'd like to be a member of, under that groups tab, your groups will automatically show up, and this becomes a shortcut to access those. But my encouragement for you is, this is a safe spot among your community of Duck alumni. So if you have interesting news to share, if you have questions that would be helpful to get a variety of feedback, you might consider starting a discussion, or you might just even add to a discussion that's currently taking place. Other ideas might include in the fall, when there may be professional networking events that you would like to invite other Ducks to attend, or there might be a sporting event watch party that you would like to promote Ducks to meet at a particular restaurant or bar. This might be another place. Although, remember, this is not a picnic, this is not Facebook, this is more of a business meeting, so do try to keep it more on the professional side. While here, I'll encourage you to help the U of O community by trying to increase the number of members within the U of O LinkedIn group. As you saw earlier, there are 80,000 some University of Oregon alumni in LinkedIn, but at this point, only 17,000 members within the U of O group. Let's try to get more of our classmates, our friends, our family members who are ducks into this community, because one of the main benefits is that as you're trying to reach out to individuals you don't know, remember that ability under the member section to search for people who match your interests and to send messages to them without having to use the in-mail system that LinkedIn charges for. So the greater the number of people we have in this group, the easier it is for our community to be able to communicate with one another. And last but not least, when you know of jobs within your organization or even that may be of interest to other ducks, please enter it under the job section, and you will be able to help the career success of ducks. And when you're looking for opportunities among the other places that you can review, be sure to come back to the U of O LinkedIn group job section. So now we are just a few minutes before the conclusion of the program. So at this moment, I want to say thank you again so much for spending some of your day with me. Hopefully you have learned some new insights, some tricks and tips to effectively find University of Oregon alumni, how to learn about what they're doing, what they've studied, how they've gotten to where they are today. You've learned some tips on how to better engage other alums and make it easier for them to connect with you with a professional base to your profile, as well as a personal message to them. And hopefully all of that will help you build your own personal UO Duck alumni network as well. From this point on, I will refer you to the Duck Career Network website. So at the conclusion of this presentation, you will be taken to either the Duck Career Network website or the ualumni.com website. And from there, you can learn about all the different resources that are available to alums, particularly our members. As I mentioned, I will be sending a survey, if not by the end of today, hopefully by early tomorrow. And please take the time to share with me your thoughts and reaction to the content of today's presentation, as well as to WebEx as a presentation format. And I do want to mention that in the coming weeks and months, we will have many more presentations. Specifically on August 14th, my colleague Linda Favero with the Portland Alumni Career Services Office through the Career Center, she and I will be doing a joint presentation on resumes and cover letters, specifically on how to pass the human resources screening to make sure that you match the job that you're applying for. This will be really, really helpful for those of you who are in the midst of a career change, or for someone who would like to basically reinvent or repackage yourself into a new career field. Of course, recent grads, this can be great as well. In the coming months, we will have the continuation of the Career Speaker Series. These are going to be live sessions once again, but don't forget that you'll be able to watch recordings of these past presentations on various topics, from networking to career definition to job search. So for those of you who are wanting to sharpen your career development skills, these can be a great resource for you that you can watch on demand. And once again, these are members-only benefits. And last but not least, I encourage you to go to the uoalumni.com webpage and look under the member rewards section, because we want to thank you all so much for being a part of our membership. And there are a variety of benefits that include early access to football tickets, information about the various chapters and their activity in your area if you want to connect with other ducks, shopping discounts that may be at retailers and employee stores like Columbia Sportswear, insurance. There's a variety of products that we have available to thank you for being part of the U of O Alumni Association. So with that, thank you so much for joining me today. Once again, if there is a quick survey at the end of once you close the browser, that is not the one you have to fill out. You will get a separate email from me. And once again, I appreciate your feedback. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. And from sunny Eugene, Oregon, just signing off. Thank you so much for taking advantage of the Career Network program. Best wishes and go Ducks.